Hello. So now let's do part 2 of activity-based costing. We are going now to correct question 4 of previous paper, April 2023, CPA. So the question 4 was about, okay, it's this, let's read it. They are saying that Pismero company has been established by the government to manufacture two types of a product X and product Y. It is wholly owned by the government. Pismelo company forecasts the total manufacturing overhead to be, in France, 26,178,000 during the current period. The company policy is to allocate. It's okay, they are saying that the current company policy is to allocate overhead to product on the basis of the elect labor hour, which means also absorption costing. Then below is the data regarding the current period's operation. Kismero company budgeted volume of production is 800 units and 2,400 units for product X and the product Y respectively. And number 2 information, they say that the direct labor hours per unit of product X and the product Y is 1.40 hours and 2.40 hours respectively, which means one is for X and another one is direct labor hour per unit for product Y. Then the direct labor cost here per unit of product X and product Y is 21.40 and one in France, 33.40 respectively. So information number 4, they are saying that the direct labor cost per unit of product X and product Y is 22.40 and even in France 38.40 respectively. During the last month, Pismero company hired a new finance manager, and he is considering using activity-based costing to apply manufacturing overhead costs to product for all of their external financial reports. He suggested that the ABC system would have the following cost pools. So they are giving us activity cost pool, purchase orders, machine setups, and the general factory, and also have the total overheads. So these are overhead, purchase orders, machine setup cost, and even the general factory. So these are activity measures. On purchase orders, the examiner tells us that we have to use a number of purchase orders. The machine setups, the examiner tells us that we have to use a number of setups. And on general factory, the examiner here is telling us to use the direct labor hours on a general factory. So we have here product X and the product Y, the activity measures happened, and also we have the overhead cost for these activities. We have 183,040, we have 27,140, and we have 51,600. So this is the total of our overheads incurred. Then requirements. Compute a predetermined overhead rate under the current method and determine the unit product cost for each of each product. So which means X and Y. It's okay by using the current method, and we have seen that the current method is what? Is absorption costing. These are the easiest marks, 5 marks. So this is like a gift examiner brings when because they want you also to pass. This examiner is good here. Then part B, they're asking that compute the unit product cost of product X and product Y using the activity-based costing system. Of course, we have learned activity-based costing system. So what is the implication there? Nothing complicated there. You can compute as long as you're at the level of advanced. Is it okay? Okay. Now, part C, they are saying that you briefly discuss how activity-based costing system could help an organization like this company we led, Pismero company, to identify, to allocate, and control costs and the potential challenges it may face. Also, this one we have it in the notes. I have also highlighted this one, the challenges we may face if we apply activity-based costing. This Pismero company, of course, we have seen that it is a public company. We need also to understand more and how we can allocate, how we can identify, and even controlling cost. And even you have to tell them the potential challenges that Pismero company as a public company, it may face. So these are like free marks for us. Now, let's move. Let's go on it. So, by answering this, let me paste it to our Excel workings. Is it okay? Our Excel working. Okay, a bit. A bit. Okay, bit. Okay, 1 minute. Put it here in our workings paper we're going to use. Okay. Now, later it is a time to share to the Excel. Okay, able to see the Excel file. Here there is Excel file. I think you are able to see my Excel file because this is what I'm sharing. This is our question, and here also there is our requirements. And I'm going to answer part A. Part A. Part A. This company is actually using social costing. We say current method is absorption or traditional absorption costing. Because they say they allocate the overhead based on the direct labor hours, which is also the same as the absorption costing or traditional costing. Traditional costing system. The company currently is using this method. So here, when you read, you have two like a cost centers. You have product X and Y. You need to come up with a determination. So the examiner wants us to determine the unit product cost or the cost of producing 1 unit of product X and product Y. So here our cost center is a product X. Okay, let me say here product X, and say here product Y. So on a product X, we have here to put there our details. Remember, if we are to produce a cost per unit, I have said this, and let me repeat it. You need to come up with a cost sheet or a cost estimation. How to do it? Remember, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. So you add them, have total direct cost. Then you put your overheads. Then you allocate it according to the system the company is using. Maybe you're applying activity-based costing. You have to use those activity-based costing to allocate those overheads. And even if you're using like absorption costing, you have to use absorption costing to allocate your overheads. And now I want to use absorption costing to answer this part A. Let's start. They say that this company is using, they say the late labor hours here on this point. The late labor hour per unit of product X and product Y is 1.4 and 2.4. Is it okay? These are the late labor to produce 1 unit. And how many units? They are saying that the piecemeal company, but the volume of production is 8,000 units and 24 units of product X and Y respectively, which means 80,000 units. 800 units is for X, sorry, and this 2,400 units is for product X. Is it okay? These are like our outputs. Let me say my units to be produced here is 800 units, and here is going to be like so it is a 2,400 units. Are you together? So these are units produced. Okay. So we have direct material. Have you seen this information? Let's look at this information here. Here they say on this information number 3, They say that the direct material cost per unit for product X is and Y is 21.40 and the one in France 23.40 respectively. So let's do it. We say direct material, it is going to be 21.40 multiplied by this 800 for all units produced. Are we together? For the whole units produced. So we have our cost per unit. And also here, okay, let's format it like this way. Okay, and here also we have also, when you look at it, they say it is 33.40. 33.40. So you multiply it by the units they are about to produce. They are going to produce 2,400 units. Is it okay? Then it becomes this total direct material. Because they want the unit cost, I will also divide it by all units again to have a cost per unit. By using this approach, I think it will be easier for you. Okay, then we go to direct labor cost, direct labor cost. And here, when you look at this information, you have the direct labor hours per unit. The direct labor hours required or needed to produce product X and produce product Y. They say 1.4 and 2.4. So we need how much they pay for 1 hour, because we have the hours spent in the production. Is it okay? So what will be the direct cost per unit? So they are saying that the direct labor cost per unit, they say per what? It is a per unit, not per hour. If it will be per hour, we can call it like a direct labor rate. If we'll be having this rate, we should also multiply it to this number of hours. But here they say it is a cost per direct labor cost per unit. So we need to multiply by the numbers of units used to produce. So it is 22.4 and that 8.4, which is going to be 22.40. Then I multiply by 800 units. Okay, then I'm going to have this 17 again, 920. And I'm going to have now this 38.40 multiplied by the number of units, which is 2,400. Is it okay? I'm going to have 38.40. I multiply it by 2,400. I'm going to have this 92,160. These are my direct labor. So let's see if we have direct expenses. Direct expenses, if any, in our question. Here, after giving us this information about the production units, they say the direct labor hours, they give us direct material cost and even direct labor costs. So they come here to give us this overhead. So there is no direct labor, so there is no direct expenses. Is it okay? So these will be like our prime cost. This will be my prime cost or total direct costs. Is it okay? Prime costs. My prime cost is now how much? Let's add it is going to be 35,000. 35,040, and this is this. But this amount, this one, it is expressed in terms of money, in francs, the currency. Please, let's remember the currency. People are producing the cost. These are the money we are reporting. This one, that's why I put this. So now we have overheads. Let's put our overheads. Goes to factory. Our factory overheads. Our factory overheads. My overheads will be composed by this one they give us. Here they say that we have purchase orders, we have machine setups, and we have also general factory. My friend, remember this. If we are to use absorption costing, what are we going to do? We are going now to apportion. Remember the 2 steps I said? I said you take the total overhead cost, you divide it by total direct labor hours, because it will be the basis of apportionment. Okay, let me remind you these steps. Let me doing here like my workings. This is going to be my workings, friends. So these are my workings. I can say you have to first determine overhead absorption rate, which is total overhead cost, total overhead. This is overheads, costs. Then you divide it, you will need to divide it by, actually, you have to divide it by, our basis of apportionment, which would be total direct labor hours. Is it okay? So you'll be having your overhead absorption rate. Let me put it here, like this way, maybe you can see it. Overhead absorption rate. Is it okay? This will be my workings, my first step. Then the second step, I will do allocation. How to do this allocation? Remember, I'll be having to say this is for X, this is the money to go to X, and this is the money to go to Y. Remember, I say this should go to X and this one should go to Y. By using the basis of apportionment I use, this will be like my allocation. It is only 2 steps. You have to remember that. Now, let's determine overhead absorption rate. Our overhead absorption rate is composed by our total overheads. My total overhead is 261,780. I have to say 261,780. So I have to divide it here. I have to divide it by how much? Total direct labor hours. How much direct labor hours? Here they say direct labor hour per unit for X and Y. It is 1.4 and it is 2.4, which means this 1.4 goes to produce 1 unit and of X. And what if we are to produce 8,000? What will be the hours required? You have to multiply. We say, now let me determine these hours. The direct labor hours, which is going to be, this is my determination of the direct labor hours, is going to be for X. It is going to be, please follow, I'm going to use 1.40 hours, then I multiply it by 800 units. Is it okay? So I'm going to have the total hours that they will need. How many the total hours that they will need? Let's determine. It will be a 1.4, so multiply by 800,800 units. These are the number of hours we need. Then for Y, it will be how many hours to produce 1 unit. It is, they say that it is a 2.4 here. Please look at here, 2.4. Then I multiply by this number of units because it is the labor hour per unit. Then I'm going to have now for Y, it should be 2.40, then hours, then I multiply by 2.4 units. It okay? Then we're going to have our 2.40 multiplied by this one, which is going to give me how much? So now here, overhead absorption rate, here I know that I have my direct labor hours, which is this one 120, and also which is 5760. Now I'm going to have here as my total labor hours. Is it okay? Which will be 120 plus 5760. Is it okay? This one, it will be this one. It will be this one. It will be this one. So now let's determine our actually total overheads. Now it is going to be, my overhead absorption rate is going to be this one. So I divide it by this 12 plus what? Divided by this 120 plus this 5760, which is 680. I'm going to have here 38. These are the hours. Remember, these are the hours, and also this one is please remember that, and remember this one is our cost. To me, this is a overhead cost per direct labor hour. Now let's do allocation. If you remember, let me also pick you to the allocation, how we do allocation. If you remember, let's do our allocation. My allocation will be like this one. Okay, let's do our allocation using this overhead absorption rate. Let's do like this way. It's going to be simple to us. Is it okay? It is we have now 38. Okay, it's a 38. 38, let me do allocation. Let me do allocation for X and Y. It has to be this one. This 38, I'm going to allocate this 38, which is going to be for X, and see the overhead cost, and for Y, and I have to see their overhead costs. Are we together? So now, by determining this, I will need to have this 38. So I will multiply it by 120 for X. And also for Y, I'll need to have this 38, which is my overhead absorption rate, then multiply by 5760. Is it okay? So I'll be having my overhead cost per. So I'll be having my total overhead allocated to product X and product Y. Now, let's see the solution. It will be this 38, so I multiply by 120, have this answer. And here it will be this 38, and I multiply by 5760, which is the rate labor hours for product Y. Then I have this one. This is my overhead, say, incurred, which will be here I get for X, I get this 42, and also for Y, I get this one. Is it okay? So I have here my total cost of production. The cost of production is going to be this one plus also this one. This is my total cost of production. Now, here, I want you to know this. This is my total cost of production. Let me say total cost of production. So, let's make our total cost of production now per unit. Remember, they produce 800 units and 2,400 units. So the units produced, they expected to produce this 800, here it is 24. Is it okay? Now let's have now our cost unit, our unit cost. Our unit cost will be also the division of this divided by this. Okay, which is 97, and here it will be this divided by this, which is going to be 163. So this is our cost unit that examiner was also requesting to get. Now this was also the 5 marks of the first question. This is very, very simple to answer. It cannot even take you like 10 minutes to answer. Now let's proceed to question B. What was the question B? Please read here what question B tells us. The question B is telling us to produce So you have seen what question B is asking us. Question B is telling us to compute the unit product cost of product X and product Y by using what? The activity-based costing system. So they give you 90 marks. Now let's be very quick on answering this, which is like a tricky question. Sorry. Not tricky, that is very simple because all the information is given in the question. So let's do it. Remember, if they say activity-based costing, what do? You remember that 2 steps I tell you to always remember as long as activity-based costing is concerned. I said, the step number 1, you need also to determine the cost per activity. The cost per activity, which is like sometimes called the cost driver rate. Okay. Then after that, you determine, so like you do allocation, those using those cost driver rate, those cost per activity, to allocate those costs to different or to respective cost centers that the examiner will be asking you. Now, we have product X and Y. Now, so how do we do that cost of computing cost on those steps? How do we do cost of, cost per activity? This is the cost of this activity. This is the cost of this activity machine setup, and this 51,600. It is a cost of this general factory as an activity or as my overhead. So, I need to determine the cost per activity. Then I allocate to various cost centers that examiner was giving me, which is product X and product Y. Now, very simple, very, very simple. Let's go, let's move. So let's do here our workings, because we're going to answer question part B. Question 4 part B, workings. These are my workings on activity-based costing, which was question B. Which was what? It was our question B. It was our question B. Now, I said one step is to determine cost per activity, let's find cost per activity. Then part 2, need to do allocation of our costs to their respective cost centers. Now, how to go over with this? So I'm going to use to answer part B. Let me say B, because it is cost per unit using the ABC, which is known as our activity-based costing. Together, activity-based costing. Now, I said we have product X, and they say product Y as per the question. So here, as per the question, so how we go through this? How many units are we producing? We are producing 800 units, and here we are producing 4,000 units. So this direct labor, this direct cost will not change. This one will not change. Is it okay? Because it is the same at whatever unit, as long as the unit does not change, we are going to produce. This is the same, but the way you allocate the overhead, it is going to be different. So you copy this for you to maximize your time easily. So just you will be writing it in exam the way you have done it when you are computing the in absorption costing. Get. So here my points. Let me copy it. So I put here my overheads. My overheads. What are my overheads in the question here? Here I have overhead which. Yes, sir. Let's continue. I was saying that here the overhead, so it was a network issues. Here the overheads we have in a question is the purchase orders, machine setups, and general factory. These are the cost of it. So let's produce a cost per activity for each overheads. Now, how to work on that? Very simple. Very what? Very simple. So we have purchase order, machine setups, and general factory. Let's start on this. Let me be putting purchase orders. Purchase orders. These are my purchase orders. I have to do it here, then here. So they say purchase orders. I have to use the number of purchase orders as my measure. So as my cost driver. So here the cost of this purchase order, the cost of the purchase order, the cost of purchase order, the cost of purchase order. Okay, a bit. The cost of the purchase order is equal to how much? It is 183, 040. This was the cost of my overheads, my cost of overheads, the cost of my overheads, the cost of my overheads, the cost of my overheads. It was that. So now, if this was my cost of overheads, I need also to determine the cost driverlet, the cost drivers. My cost driver here is the examiner say I have to use the number of purchase orders. Purchase order, it has to go with the number of purchase orders. So you will apportion it using the number of purchase orders. And they give us for product X and for product Y. You see, this examiner is good. He say that actually how many orders for product X and how many orders for product Y, which is the number of purchase order. I have to use is 16, 20, and 25, 40. 16, 20 plus 5 what? Plus 2540 plus 2540,000 units. This is it. Okay, now what will be the solution for this? Here it will be very simple. My cost per activity will be this one, so I will divide it by how much? This is 1620 plus this 2540, which is going to be 44. This 44 is my cost per activity, or like cost driver rate. Then I need again to here. I need again here. Sorry, I need again here. I need again here to do for what? I need again. Okay, let me first do allocation. Let me first do allocation. Let me first do my allocation. Let me do my allocation. Let me do allocation. So for allocation, I know I have product X and I have product Y. So my allocation will be this 44. Remember, it will be this 44 we get here, this 44. Then I multiply. So it will be this 44, this one. Then I will multiply it by this 160, 20. So I'll be having this 71, 22,280. So here, I'm going also to take this 44 for Y. Then I multiply by this 2540, this 2540, this 2540. I'm going to have this 11,000. So now here I have on purchase what? Purchase orders. I can say here directly purchase order, which will be now my this figure and also be my this figure. So here I have again on I have machine setups and general factory. Machine setups and general factory. Machine setups and general factory overheads. Here on machine setups, let's say machine setups, here the cost per activity. here the cost per activity is going to be this overhead cost, this 27,140, 27,140,000. So I have to divide it by how what? The cost driver will be number of setups, which is 200 setups and 260 setups for each cost center. 200 plus 260. I'm going to have 200 plus 260, which is 460. Now, my cost driver rate will be this divided by 460. Is it okay? This is my cost driver rate. So I came here to do what? To allocate my what? My overhead expenditures to X and also have a Y. Is it okay? Very simple. Very, very simple. Let's have for X and let's have here for Y. For X, it will be this 59. I will multiply it by 200. And also here, it will be 260. I will multiply it by this 59. So, which is going to be 11 and 15, 340, which is, when you add it, it becomes this 27,140, which was our general cost, our cost pool that you were also allocating. Now, here, the machine setup cost is overhead is going to be for X this, and also for Y, it is going to be this 15,340. Now, on general factory, I'm going to have also this to do the same. Is it okay? I'm going also to do what? To do the same. So how we do it? How we go with this? What are the costs? When you need to determine cost per activity, which is 51,600. This one for general factory. Then you have to use also the labor hour. They give us 560 and 288 labor hours. So we have 51,600. 51,600. Sorry. 7,600. We'll divide it by how much? By this 560 labor hours plus 288 labor hours. Which is 560 plus 288 hours. Is it okay? Now, let's determine our cost per activity, which would be this. Divided by 5, this 560 plus this 288 to give us the correct figure. It is 18. Now, if it is 18, let's now allocate for X and for Y. This is simple, friends. Let's now allocate for X and for Y. Let's allocate for X and for Y, which is going to be now, this is for X and this is going to be for Y. So for X, we're going to have this 18. So I multiply by this 560, which is for X. 560, which is the labor hours for X. Then here, I will need to have this 18. I multiply by this 288. Is it okay? Then I have this. This will be my, also the cost to this X, and this one for what? For Y. Then from this one, you see now, my all overhead are, I have ended to apportion all the overheads, so I complete. Now I need to add only to come up with the total cost. So let's have total cost of production. Is it okay? Total cost of production. My total cost of production, it will be this one plus also this, and it is going to be this one plus this one. Sorry, plus this one, plus also this one, plus also this one. So this will be my total cost of production. So this will be my total cost of production. Okay.
Hello, Honore.
Yes, wait a bit, like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, let's proceed. Need to take this one plus this one plus also this one as well as this prime cost. So to have this one. So what is the units produced? Units produced. So the units produced is 800 here. Here it is 400 here, if you remember. Now this is going to be my cost per units. So here my cost per unit is going to be this one divided by this one. So I'm going to have 160 as cost per unit, and here my unit cost is this one divided by what? This one, which is 140, which is 146. Now this is my cost per units. But that examiner was wanting so for you to have this 9 marks. So our class is in here. Now, thank you.